we're going to see if this works. Hopefully it does. I put your song into GarageBand on my computer, so it's going to look a little bit different than the iPad, but we'll see what we can come up with here. So let's take a listen to what you have. All right, so one of the first things that I'm noticing is that traditionally chord patterns are going to be happening over 4 bars or 8 bars. And so you're going to either have something a little bit longer, where it's like an 8-bar measure. So if you add that up, 4 plus 4 with the 1, it'll end on bar 9. Or you'll have something that's a little bit shorter that will end on bar 5. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of what that might look like. So we're going to try muting that, and let's see if we can put something together here. I'll just quickly, I haven't thought about this, just throw together a random chord pattern here. And so I would want to end it right at 9. So I'm going to take this and cut it off right there. So that's me just playing through it once. The next thing I want to do, and you should be doing this every single time, is quantizing it. So if you notice, I hit these a little bit late. And that seems to be with everything. Well, except for right over here. So you're wanting to have things right on the measure or close to it so that it sounds a little bit better. So this is the same idea there. It's a little bit off. Things are coming in a little bit too late most of the time. Here, pretty good. Here was almost early. So we're going to highlight everything. On yours, you'd have to like click on the iPad and then hold it in, and then it start dragging like this. On the computer, you can just go Command A or Control A to highlight everything. And then you will have to find the way to quantize it by clicking on the note, and then there's like that quantization decision there. Here I can just kind of choose what I want, and there's actually a lot of different options on the computer here. So I'm going to choose 1/8. Listen to this. Okay, so there's stuff where things push a little bit. You notice that like when it's zoomed in a little bit less distance, where right here. When you're zoomed in only this far, you'll notice that these ones are not on the line per se. These ones here are, and so I clearly played these ones different than I did these ones, and that was actually something that I noticed on your song too, was that where some of them had what you call more of like a push, and then other ones like right on the notes. So here it's like more right on the beat. So you hear that there, da da, and then this one will pause a little bit, right? Or it'll hit a little bit sooner. So it has a little bit more groove to it. So that's kind of like the first time around, I just played it kind of straight, and then the second time I had a little bit of a push, hitting it before the actual note there. If I want to stay consistent, I can highlight these right over here, and then zoom in, and then move them over. And I believe that they were right here. So. So that's step one. You're going to want to make sure that you're relatively consistent, unless you're purposely trying to play it differently the first time through than the second time. But again, I really wouldn't want to change it up too much right at the beginning. If you wanted to do that where there is variation, that's a good idea, and that's something that you can do. But you might want to choose to do that a little bit later on. So if you're going to have 9 bars here, and then you copy that and paste that over, you have 17. then maybe by the time you get to over here, the third time around, then go ahead, switch it up, and then take those notes. Maybe you want to go back to pushing them straight. You could highlight every single one of these right over here, and put them onto the measure right over here. And so now it would sound like this at bar 17. Like that. So this one would look and play a little bit differently. So that's one particular thing that I noticed with yours. So if we go back to this for a moment, let's see if we can hear something else. Oh yes, that's the thing too. We want to be able to figure out a way to be able to cut it off right at 9. So right now you're playing a little bit extra, and some of that comes down to like when things are hitting here. So I'm gonna duplicate this too, see if I can manipulate this a little bit. So like I don't mind that, like duh. It's okay to come off beat like that. But how far does it come off beat? So back to the beginning. So you're kind of hitting it right over here. Duh. The next time you would probably want to hit it right on the 3. Can we split up over there? Perfect. So we're gonna maybe cut this up over here. So what if we were to like put this right over here like this? So even over here, so as you can probably hear, it still doesn't sound great. See if we can maneuver this. What if we put this like right over here? It might have to be here. And then this one now potentially can be a little bit longer like this. And so even this one here is off by just a smidgen. So this one here should be starting right over here. And so if we were to just cut this a little bit there, move this over here, we'll be starting like that. So like this one here, same idea. You're starting it before the measure right over there. So this should really be starting at 6, based on what we see in front of us. So I'd be moving this just right around there. And so same with this one here. This one is quite a bit off. So you'll be doing this within your MIDI. So I don't have access to your MIDI. I only have access to your audio. So it would sound a lot better if I was able to edit it with the MIDI notes, because the drums will be on time no matter what. So based on what you're doing. So that doesn't matter. Well, unless you were actually playing hitting the drums. But if you use the smart drums, then that would sound great once you edit this stuff here. And so if you want to keep that note the whole time, that's fine, but just end it on the 9 then. So this won't sound nearly as good right now just because it's spliced up into audio stuff. So what you're noticing here is that the first note, the F chord, is holding for kind of 1 measure, the B flat for 1 measure, and then the C for 2. I believe that's probably what you played there. What we could do is I'm gonna try that chord progression note actually. Let's see if we can try that. And for that, let's be consistent. Let's play the piano too. Just want to get it to sound kind of similar. Let's see. Okay, good. Here we go. Oh, I'm barely able to hear this metronome. I wonder if there's a way to turn it up. This is not normally the I'm playing it. Okay, whatever else. I'll try to listen to it very carefully. I might turn down the piano a bit here, so I can hear the metronome a little bit more. The metronome again is to like be in time so that you can actually hear your playing. So that second time I purposely kind of pushed it and hit it a little bit early. So there are times where you specifically could do that. So first things first, as always, you always want to quantize when you're playing it yourself. So we're going to go here and we will quantize it. And we'll listen back and we can turn this up now. So what you noticed is I did a little bit of a push here where I hit the second chord a little bit before this measure. That is something that you could do. It adds a little bit more groove to it. So when I was saying that it has to be on the beat, it doesn't necessarily have to be, but you have to be careful as to what you're doing. With that being said, I still ended at the same place. Like get rid of this because that's just starting the whole thing over again. So if we were to cut it right over here and just play the last 4 measures, this is the same chord progression the second time through. And then you could literally loop it back to the beginning where you would go from there. So you get the idea. That would be what I would suggest. Start with like the first 4 measures here. That is probably how I would do that. Get rid of this other stuff here, and then just play it like this. And then you can always loop it. And then at that point, that's when you can begin to add some of those other instruments there. So whether you have your fancy drummer and then you're just dragging stuff on there. So like this is similar to the smart drummer where you can just throw stuff in there. I'll add some fancy fills, put a little swing onto it. And this is what it sounds like now. And if for good measure, we want to add in a bass, because I was telling you that you needed to add in some extra pieces to your song here. Why not a bass? Okay, here we go. So, as you noticed, or may have heard there, we're going to first quantize this to the 16th this time, just because I'm hitting more notes. There was one really wrong note, and so let's listen for that. Turn off my metronome for now while I play back. So even this is just picky right here, but this, I don't like this one here. Dun, dun, da, da. Maybe like this. So I wonder if it sounds better the low note. And then this one here is not on the proper place there, so move that over a little bit longer, or bring it a little bit sooner perhaps. Do something like that. So that was the note that I was talking about that was like way off. This was not the right note to hit here. So see if that works. Now it's got to be one up, like that. And then this one here, as you can hear, timing wise. So let's get the timing right of that. There you go. So now we've added the bass. You don't have to play something as complicated as this. You could do something as simple as this. So let's mute this bass and I'll show you what that is. Literally holding notes in. So we'll hold the F, hold the B flat, hold the C. You could always play the octave up if you wanted to, or you could draw it in later as well. An octave up is just the same note, one entire, I guess 12 notes above that. All right, and as always, quantize it. This time we can go to the nearest quarter note, and so watch this second time through. Now adds a little bit more flavor to it. What you could also do too, if we go to the drums, same idea. We could have it where there's less fills at the beginning here, maybe no hi-hat at all, and then a little bit simpler kick pattern, and watch how that changes the feel for the beginning, 8 measures, and then the next ones. And we'll play it halfway through actually, just cut it a little bit shorter. So that's a weird kick pattern. So let's try a different kick pattern, see if this changes it. Okay, this is a pattern I kind of like, kind of simple, and then off it goes into kind of jiving a little bit better there, a little bit more. So if we wanted to, because this is the same sound here, we can just drag this up here. So now you have one kind of same chord progression, but just more notes being hit over here versus over there. So what that opens up, then we could then create and add a little extra here. So this I don't think is going to sound good on this GarageBand. On your GarageBand, there's all kinds of extra things you can do here. I might just do chunking. So I'm just hitting 3 notes at the same time, the F and the C and the higher F. So let's try this, see how this works out here. Whoa, that sounds pretty bad, but we'll just work with what we got here, at least in my opinion anyways. So I think part of it is just because of where it's at here. So we're going to quantize this again. Here 16th, and you'll notice that sometimes notes don't quantize exactly, so you have to edit them as well. So it doesn't always hit them exact or put them exactly where you want. These ones here are all off, so they need to be moved over. And that is actually true with the rest of these as well. So you would highlight those, bring those over. Even this one here is off, and it appears that probably the rest of these are then too. So you want them every other one. So again, we're noticing not every other one right over here. And if we zoom in a little bit further, we need to finish at 13 here. And so we missed one. So let's just copy and paste that. Now let's hear how this sounds. So something else you can do too, I don't like how these are so high. You can actually lower them. So you can drag them, click them, and lower them. I just lower them by the looks of things 2 octaves actually. So instead of it being at this high D right over here, now it's way down here. How does this sound? And I'll do the same thing with this one first too, and then show you how that sounds. So what you would do is you would just click them, highlight them, and then drag them down. So just making sure that they're on the same notes that they were up here. Whatever note they were up here, same down below. So there is something that's off by a little bit. So what could that be? Oh, that's weird. Why is this playing it so much higher? That's weird. That shouldn't be doing that. Very odd. Okay, then we will manually just bring this down into something that makes sense. There. And I bet you this is doing the same thing. Yeah. So that note, whoops, that note has to be different too. I just noticed it just sounded very weird. And we're off to C, so then we can play this one. This should be better. Whoa, something's still off. Oh, probably here, maybe? Ugh, something's still off. Try this. F sharp. That's what it is. F sharp. Oh. Oh, it was right at the D, or at the F. Okay. So, yeah, it clearly doesn't sound that good. I would like literally turn that down quite a bit in the mix. Something you can do too in GarageBand, even on the iPad, is like where you put it more in one ear than the other one. That works with guitar. It sometimes works with other particular instruments. Never with the bass. The bass always goes right down the middle. Same with the kick drum, right down the middle. One other trick I will show you, and then off to your own devices, would be this. I would copy one of the piano tracks like so, and then also copy the MIDI down too. And then what you do is you just switch up the piano, make it into something different. So what do we have for options? It doesn't seem like we have a lot of different options here. Okay, is this going to be where it is? Yes, pads. What I'm looking for is pads, and you should be looking for pads as well. So look till you find pads within there, and there's a lot of different options here. And we're going to just quickly solo just this. Okay, this one is probably the one for us. And we're going to get rid of this guy. We're going to mute these two. Okay. And so again, as we're talking about like how do we go about changing up how the song works here, one of the things that I would do right away is I would extend this a little bit right over here. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing this good. Okay. And we're going to start it without any drums at all. So these drums are going to come in over here. And same with the bass. For now, it's just going to be these two right over here. It'll start off like this. There's also something I want to show you too. You can automate your volume, and that's something that you can do with the iPad version. You click on the picture on the left, and then up pops different options. You go to automation, and under automation, you'll see something like this. You'll have to like click on the pen at the top left, and that'll, whoops, you can't even see that on mine. At the top left, you will be clicking on the pen, turn it red, and then you could do something like this, where maybe you start it off like this and increase the volume. You can hear the pad is increasing over time. Let's do the same thing with the drums too, where they come in a little bit quieter and then they get louder. Sure, why not do that with the bass too? Oh, and get rid of this electric for the first bit. And that is how you go about creating your song, adding in the different elements and bringing it to the next level. So on the iPad, there's a much better version. What I would suggest for specifically the guitar is just use the autoplay feature. But be careful that you're not choosing stuff that has like fancy things where it adds a bunch of like notes up and down and all over the place. If you're going to choose something, either go with a hard rock where it's just like the chunking, where it just like plays chunk, 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 which is what I was trying to do, but it sounds better with the autoplay on the iPad. Or you can use the acoustic guitar and then you just literally strum it. And so you use your finger and then you just flick your finger and play the notes that way. So that would be the quick rundown of going ahead and creating the different levels and the different layers. And then there's so much more that we could do with something like this to expand upon it. But at that point, once you're finished this and building, you're going to begin to incorporate your voice, where you would add a microphone right over here. And you would then go ahead and arm it like this. I don't know if it's gonna, that sounds very weird to me. I'm gonna get rid of that. That was a monitoring thing. Let's see if we can just do something quickly here. Will I be recording? This is me singing about the fall, but I'm not really singing, I'm just talking. Fall is great. In the fall, you throw a ball in a hall. Have a great time. Did you see it all in fall? So, there you are. That's the song about fall. Recording. This is me singing about the fall, but I'm not really singing, I'm just talking. Fall is great. In the fall, you throw a ball in a hall. Have a great time. Did you see it all in fall? Bam, that's the song. It's about fall. And we can rename this region Singing About Fall. One thing I suggested to students too is that when they have a particular chord progression that they're playing, then just to rename their track that chord progression so that they remember it the next time they come to it, or maybe they close the song, come back to it a long time later. You have it now. F, B flat, C. This was your chord progression. And if you wanted to even go one step further, it's, I guess, F, B flat, C, C, because the last two bars are C, each of them. This one and the next one. So one measure of F, one measure B flat, one measure of C, and a second measure of C. And that's a quick tutorial. It could go a lot deeper than this, but you get the idea. So once you've created your song structure, you then begin creating your lyrics like such. And if for whatever reason you don't like the song structure based on what your lyrics are, change it up. There's things that you can do too where you cut, say, the last measure like this of the song, well, of a part of the song here. Watch how this interacts. Throw a ball in a hall. Have a great time. Did you see it all in fall? So it adds a little bit of suspension by removing sounds for a short period of time like this. This is just like half a beat right over here, or one full beat, I guess, from 16 to 17. I cut everything. I left the piano in so that there was still at least some sound. If you wanted to, you could try this. See if that sounds better. Throw a ball in a hall. Have a great time. Did you see it all in fall? I almost like that better. And that's why you try things out. You try it out, see if it works, and you have to listen to it in context. Listen to it with all the instruments here, see if it sounds better. If it does, then keep it. If not, then what you would do is you would just go and put this back to what we had before, which was right over here. All right, now it's your turn. Good luck, have fun, and enjoy the mixing process.